Hi everyone, Scott Lewis here for Wirefly, here to do a Schmackdown for you today between two great super phones. Today we have the Galaxy Nexus for Sprint versus the T-Mobile HTC One S. It looks to be an exciting battle between two great super phones. Starting off in round one today for the HTC One S and the Galaxy Nexus Schmackdown, we're going to be going over some specs. Now the Galaxy Nexus has a 4.65-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 720 by 1280. The HTC One S has a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED display. The resolution on it is 540 by 960. So right off the bat, display size and resolution goes to the Galaxy Nexus for Sprint. Now I will also say that the pixel density, the pixels per inch on the Galaxy Nexus would be 316 pixels per inch. The One S has a pixel density of 256 pixels per inch. The processors in each phone, we have a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor versus a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor. You'll see in the later rounds where the 1.5 really benefits the One S. Now each phone has 1 gigabyte of RAM, so that's a draw on that part of the round. Now the Galaxy Nexus has 32 gigabytes of onboard storage. The One S has 16 gigabytes of onboard storage. Neither phone has an SD card slot that you can add additional storage. Now I will say that the One S comes with a 25 gigabyte subscription for a cloud-based storage for free for the first 2 years. So it definitely will give you the higher amount of storage, but to me, I like it all in one piece. I want it all with me. I don't want to use the cloud. I don't want to use my data to retrieve it, so I like the Nexus for the storage. So that wraps up our round for specs. Now we had display that went to the Nexus, we had resolution went to the Nexus, processor obviously goes to the One S for the 1.5 gigahertz processor, draw on the RAM, and the storage capacity to me goes to the Galaxy Nexus, even though the One S has the overall larger amount, but it's through the cloud. So the first round is going to be going to the Galaxy Nexus. Alright, on to round two. Round two is going to be all about the design and form factor for the phones. Now the Galaxy Nexus is 9.5 millimeters thick. The One S is only 7.95 millimeters thick. Now you would think that that's a great benefit for the One S, but I will tell you, it's almost too thin. It doesn't sit in the hand very nice. Where the Galaxy Nexus has a great form factor as well, it uses that size to fit in your hand just right. One plus for the One S is that it uses an all-aluminum body. Yeah, I really like the all-aluminum body. You don't have to worry about it cracking or breaking. Now, I will tell you though that the One S got extremely hot while using it, and that has to do a little bit with that aluminum body. But I do like that. I like the color too of the One S, the gradient blue versus just the plain black of the Galaxy Nexus. But as far as the total feel, the Galaxy Nexus had a great feel in the hand and fit better. To keep going with that, the location of the buttons, the sleep button on the side here, the volume up and down on the other side, I really liked where everything was, and you could get it from one hand while still using it. You didn't have to bring in a second hand if you didn't want to use the Galaxy Nexus. Now with the One S, with the sleep and power button being up on top, maybe I just have small hands, but I couldn't reach it comfortably without using a second hand. The volume up and down was perfectly fine. It's here on the side, but I didn't like the location of the buttons overall. So as far as the design part of the Schmackdown, it once again is going to be going to the Galaxy Nexus for Sprint. Now round three is going to be all about the camera functions on the Galaxy Nexus and the One S, as well as the multimedia functions that are available for them. The camera on the Galaxy Nexus is a 5 megapixel still image rear facing camera with LED flash. Now it has a 1.3 megapixel front facing camera, and it records video in 1080p. The One S also has a LED flashed rear facing camera, but it is an 8 megapixel rear facing camera, so higher megapixels for the One S. Now I will say though that the front facing camera is a VGA quality front facing camera, so points off for that. The 1.3 is definitely a lot better in that aspect, so almost even for the megapixel count on the cameras. Now there's a couple functions inside the camera that I like for both of them. With the Galaxy Nexus, it'll do panoramic pictures. The One S will not do panoramic pictures. While taking 1080p video, you can touch the screen and pull off still images off of the video itself. So that's a very nice feature for the Galaxy Nexus. Now I will say the One S has that same feature, so I really like that on both of these phones. And one of the features that I really liked about it also was the video stabilization in it. It really worked well. It took away any shake in the hand or as you were moving across the screen. So actually worked very well. And it also had a smile and face detection feature that really helped my pictures come out and focus on the subjects that I intended it to be. To dig in a little bit more about the multimedia aspect of both phones, the Galaxy Nexus is compatible with HTML, HTML5, and Flash, where the One S is only HTML and Flash compatible. Now HTML5 is going to be a feature that you are going to use later on. Not all websites are HTML5 compatible, but it has to do with embedding video within the HTML code. So it's something that will be coming up very shortly that you'll want to have. So I like that feature on the Galaxy Nexus. Now as far as for audio, the Galaxy Nexus is just your standard MP3 player, plays nice solid music, digital, sounded great. Now I will say that the One S comes with Beats Audio. HTC Beats Audio, it's a really nice feature, has great quality sound. I understand it's just a digital equalizer, but I think it works very well on the One S. So that is a plus for the One S. Now both phones have HDMI out through the micro USB port on the phone itself. Now the Galaxy Nexus has NFC technology, near field communication. Now that technology allows you to do things like use Google Wallet to pay for purchases at your local retailers. Now the One S does not have NFC technology. It does, however, have DNLA technology. Now DNLA technology will let you stream over the Wi-Fi network at your house to TVs and other things that also have DNLA technology. A lot of people are starting to use Bluetooth in their car and as a headset because of hands-free laws in a lot of different states. Now I will say that the Galaxy Nexus uses Bluetooth 3.0, where the HTC One S uses Bluetooth 4.0. Now you're going to ask, what's the difference? The One S with the 4.0 Bluetooth has less of a battery drain, so it's more efficient. Not really about the quality of sound or anything like that. It's really about efficiency of the Bluetooth and how much battery it uses while it's functioning. So let's go ahead and score that round. The camera on the Galaxy Nexus, in my opinion, took better quality photos even though it was only a 5 megapixel camera versus the 8 megapixel camera that was on the One S. Now I'll also say I like the 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera a lot better than the VGA quality front-facing camera on the One S. Now I also like the option to take a panoramic picture. Not that I'm going to use it a lot, but I want the option if I can. And also with the HTML5 capability with the Galaxy Nexus that the One S does not have, that's another plus. Now I will say though, with the Beats Audio, that's a big plus for the One S. I listen to a lot of music, and a lot of people do. They listen to music, they watch movies on their device, and with large screens like a 4.65 and a 4.3 inch screen, you can do that. Now, I will also say that the 4.0 Bluetooth for the One S is another big plus. I also use Bluetooth in the car and with a headset while I'm at work. So I think the One S definitely takes that part of it. Now I would give the win for the round 3 to the Galaxy Nexus because I think the benefits of the camera and the front-facing camera and the panoramic pictures outweighs the Beats Audio and the Bluetooth on the One S. On to the fourth and final round. So right now we have the Galaxy Nexus with all 3 of the first rounds. I hope the One S is prepared for the software and benchmark battles that we're about to get into. Now both of these phones are running Android 4.0. I will say the Galaxy Nexus has the advantage because it is a Google phone and doesn't have a skin like HTC Sense on the One S. Now the benefit to Sense is that it gives you a lot of the different camera features like the image stabilization and being able to put effects on your photos. So the Sense that is on the One S does serve a purpose, but anytime you can have a pure experience of the operating system, I think that's better. Now to data speeds. Data speeds are very important today because we're streaming movies and music, we're doing all kinds of things, sending and receiving emails, so data speeds are very important. Now the Galaxy Nexus utilizes Sprint's new LTE network. The One S is an HSDPA Plus phone for T-Mobile. Now, I will say that the T-Mobile phone is faster right now because there's really not LTE for Sprint yet. So you're really on Sprint's 3G network. Now with that being said, the Galaxy Nexus has more upside. As soon as that LTE network's available for you, it is going to be blazing fast in the 4G network as opposed to the HSDPA Plus that the T-Mobile One S has. Now I ran a quadrant standard benchmark on both of the phones, and as far as the scores, it is a 2052 for the Galaxy Nexus and a 4755 for the One S. Now I will tell you that that has a ton to do with the 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor versus the 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor. Because remember, the quadrant standard score tests the hardware in the phone as opposed to the network connection. It's all about the hardware that's in the device and how efficiently it works. I will say thanks to TV Watches 01 on our YouTube channel. In his comments, he recommended that we use the Antutu benchmark, and I know Bob has used it as well before, so I'm bringing it back with this Schmackdown. So the Galaxy Nexus on the Antutu benchmark is a 6,188, where the the One S has a score of 6,958. So once again, it's not surprising that the Galaxy Nexus loses to the 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor HTC One S. Now let's recap that round. So we have the software being for the Galaxy Nexus for the pure Google experience on the Ice Cream Sandwich 4.0 Android operating system. Data speeds are hard to tell because right now it's with the One S. In the future, it's going to be with the Galaxy Nexus. So I'm living in the moment right now. I'm going to go ahead and go with giving that to the One S. And our quadrant standard score and Antutu benchmark is going to be going to the One S for the 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor that it has is definitely superior to the 1.2. So with those things considered, round 4 is going to be going to the HTC One S. Now to recap all 4 rounds real quick, we had the specs, the design, and then the camera/multimedia going to the Galaxy Nexus. As far as the first 3 rounds, the last round went to the One S with software and the overall benchmark scores. So as a whole, the whole match, we have our winner of the Galaxy Nexus. Now that's not extremely surprising. The Nexus has been out for a long time, has a great experience, and has had a lot of run with Verizon as well. So this particular phone is very polished. It works very well, it fits very well, everything about it is a super phone. Now it's not to say that the One S is any slouch. It is a great phone and has great hardware inside. It's just really hard when you compare it against a true Google phone. It's really hard to beat the Galaxy Nexus. Now I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Did I get this right? Was it the One S that should have won, or was it the Galaxy Nexus that absolutely was the superior phone in this Schmackdown? So go ahead and let me know here on our YouTube channel. My name is Scott Lewis for Wirefly. Thanks for watching.